Brides and grooms, welcome to Weddy Guru's wedding planning classes, where we break down every element of your wedding planning journey. Our goal and our joy, not just in these classes but here at Weddy Guru, is to simplify every step of your wedding planning journey, and therefore freeing up your time and your energy to focus on building a foundation for your lifelong marriage. And of course, not forgetting that you have the utmost fun at your wedding. We're trying to reduce the stress so that we make sure we have the utmost fun at your wedding. My name is Kimari Maina, a wedding planner here at Weddy Guru, and in this particular class we are discussing budget. Every event costs something, so how can we make sure that what we have is able to give us a meaningful wedding coming up? Let me paint a picture of what happens to a lot of couples when they're planning their weddings, ourselves included, with regards to budget. So months, years before you get onto this journey, wedding planning journey, there are those vendors that you have been following over a long period, following their work, following what they've been putting out there on social media, for example, and taking note that, oh, I like these photos, I like the way this cinematographer is telling the story, I like the work of this decorator, I like the vibe that this MC gives, etc. And as you follow them and as you continue to enjoy their work, finally, you're now on the journey of planning your wedding. Who do you reach out to first? These preferred vendors. And as you reach out to them, you ask them for quotes, and then you put their quotes in a budget, and then you realize, oh snap, this budget is 2, 3, 4 times more than what I thought I would be willing to spend. Does that sound familiar? That is the mistake a lot of couples have made, and that is the mistake we want to address in this particular class. So how do you set a wedding budget that does not break the bank? First two sets of questions. How much are you able to spend, and how much are you willing to spend? What's the difference between these two? How much are you able to spend, which is how much do you have currently saved up in your bank account today, or in any investment portfolio today? And how much are you able to raise between today and the day of your wedding? That is how much you have the capacity to spend on your wedding. But just because you have the capacity, you're able to spend X amount of money on your wedding, doesn't mean that you spend that amount. Of that amount you're able to spend, how much of it are you willing to spend? Of course, don't spend your life savings on this one-day affair. We have seen weddings worth 100,000, we have seen weddings worth 5 million. If you're to put these two couples in the same room 5 years after their wedding, you will not be able to tell the difference. The truth is, whatever you have in your bank right now, whatever you are willing to spend, is enough for you to have a meaningful celebration. Let's again put into perspective, and I know we've said it a couple of times, but please remember, this is a one-day affair. It's a one-day event. It is one of the biggest events celebrated in life, but it still is a one-day affair. It is celebrated as such because of the life you guys will live thereafter. And so please put that into perspective, even in your finances, as you are discussing money. So live within your means, remembering that whatever you have is sufficient for you to be able to celebrate this big day. We have found it very easy to have this conversation around budget by putting it into the context of what we call the three sisters of wedding budgeting. And the three sisters here are an acceptable price / budget, the numbers, which is how much you can afford to have your wedding, numbers, how many people you're going to have over at your wedding, and quality, what is the standard that you desire to have at your wedding, the standard of food, the standard of decor, the standard of entertainment, the standard of photography. I think you get the gist. What is that standard that you prefer for your wedding day? With regards to budget, the desire and the goal is to make sure that that budget does not go up. It should go down. With regards to numbers, the desire is to have those numbers go down, not go up. All right. And then with regards to quality, the desire is to have the quality increase, not decrease. So it's important for me to set these definitions so that you can understand how these three sisters work together, or how they do not work together. Now that we understand what these three sisters are, Let me explain using an example. We're going to hold budget. Remember, earlier on we had talked about how you need to set a budget for your wedding. So in this case, let's say that the amount you've set aside for your wedding, the amount you're willing to spend for your wedding is 1,000 shillings. Of this 1,000 shillings, your intended numbers, or the numbers you foresee coming to your wedding, are 100 people. It means that the quality of wedding you're going to give them is worth 10 shillings per person. 10 shillings, 100 people equals to 1,000 shillings. Now, if you want this quality to increase, then these numbers have to reduce, or this budget has to go up. So if you want the quality to be worth 100 bob, if the budget is still 1,000 shillings, it means that the numbers have to reduce to 10 people. So 10 people with a quality worth 100 shillings per person, and the budget will remain at 1,000,000. Or if these numbers cannot reduce, so they remain at 100, but this quality has to come up to 100 from 10, it means that your budget has to increase to 10,000. Please take note how, whichever direction you go, if you touch one, there is a sister that has to be compromised. And by compromised here, I mean the desired outcome for that sister does not happen. So in this case, budget will increase, which is not desired, numbers will increase, which is not desired, or quality will decrease, again, which is not desired. If you've understood how these three sisters play together, let me then put this note. You cannot have these three sisters in the same room at the same time. One sister has to be compromised. Either you compromise on budget, or you compromise on numbers, or you compromise on quality. It is important to note that it is very rare for these three sisters to be in the same room at the same time. You cannot have a wedding with the numbers that you desire, or the numbers that you and your folks desire, with the quality that you desire at the budget that you desire. It is very rare. It is almost impossible. Is it impossible? No, almost impossible. There will always be that one sister that will be compromised. Understanding this will help you be able to figure out your budget, or to have conversations with your spouse and conversations with your parents, both sides, so that you agree, okay, so for that then let's increase the budget, or for that then guys let's reduce the numbers, or for that let's reduce the quality. I think that is you get the gist. Now remember, we're discussing this so that we avoid the situation we had started with, which is you've put together all these quotes from all these preferred vendors and realize that your budget is 4 or 5 times bigger than you had originally desired. That's what we're trying to show you how to make sure that that does not happen. So once you've set your budget, and once you've understood how these three sisters play together, allocate funds for each category. So your wedding is worth, let's say, 1 million. Allocate and say, of this 1 million, 150,000 shall go to food, 150,000 shall go to decor, 40,000 shall go to cake, 70,000 shall go to what the bride will wear, 35,000 shall go to what the groom will wear, etc. Allocate, and all of this should total to 1 million. Now there is a tool that we have made available to you, the wedding budget calculator, that suggests the percentages that should be applied per category. So for example, it suggests decor, set aside 21% to decor, set aside 25% to catering, set aside, and so forth and so on. Those percentages will help you set aside specific budget amounts for specific categories. Please take a look at that calculator, and also check out the tutorial for the same, because it will give you a better breakdown of how to use this calculator. But it is a very useful tool that will allow you to allocate the budget per category. Please remember to prioritize the 5 deal breakers, or your wedding vision. The things that matter to you the most in your wedding vision, prioritize those ones in your budget. The rest, let go or hold loosely. But the reason why you started with your wedding vision is so that you could prioritize those things. So I'll give an example. If your priority is the experience you give yourselves and your guests on your wedding day, then give priority budget-wise to the people who influence the experience. So for example, give priority to food, because food is part of the experience. Give priority to your MC, give priority to your DJ, your entertainers, because they help bring the experience together. Give priority to your photographers and cinematographers because they capture the experience. I think you get the gist. Because you have a priority list, remember that priority list as you are budgeting. Once then you have allocated funds, now you can go look for vendors that match the allocated budget per category. So if the allocated budget for decor was 150,000, and because you know your numbers are 100 people, then you look for a decorator who will give you decor worth 150,000 for 100 people. And then you look for an MC who will charge you for the amount you've allocated. You look for a photographer who will charge you for the amount you've allocated. You look for vendors that fit your budget, as opposed to trying to make your budget fit the vendors. I think you get the gist. Following this particular order will avoid you finding yourself in a situation where the budget is way above what you can afford. As I mentioned before, and it's important to note here that your numbers do affect your budget. So please align as a couple on what your numbers look like even before you go speak to your parents. And after you've done that, engage your parents and your family on what your numbers look like. And we're going to be discussing this in a future class, how to engage your parents, so that there's more guidance on how to engage them when you're discussing numbers amongst other things. But please remember that numbers, of course, do play a big role in your budget. Alright, so yes, that does mark the end of this class. And please remember to check out the tutorial for the wedding budget calculator for even more information. But if you do have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. We do periodically check our comment section to answer the questions you post there. But better yet, join the Weddy Guru Wedding WhatsApp community, where we frequently answer not just questions on this topic, but questions about wedding planning in general. You also get the benefit of seeing the answers to the questions other couples are asking, and therefore benefiting from the information out there. So scan the code displayed on the screen and sign up to join the community, and the sign up link is also in the video description below. Are you looking for a wedding planner who will turn your wedding into an experience? Let's talk. Call or WhatsApp us on 0725 883 553. Whatever your journey may be, it is our hope that this class has begun to simplify the wedding planning journey, allowing you time and energy to build on that which matters the most, which is the foundation for your lifelong marriage. My name is Kimari Maina, a wedding planner here at Weddy Guru. See you in the next class.